So in the wake of the attack in Washington, D.C. that saw a couple of ICE agents targeted by what turned out to be a foreign import, an Afghani that had only been in there a couple of years, the Americans are waking up to the idea that actually the country that is built on immigration, as the lie they like to push, maybe it might not actually be a good thing after all. Or, certain amounts of immigration is good, but maybe not import the entire third fucking world into your country. Maybe that's something to move forward with. And as an Englishman, I look at stories like this and I just think to myself, how is it that America, right, the land of opportunity, the one that actually opens its arms to the world and says, welcome one and all, why is it that that country, of all countries, is now saying, actually, immigration is probably a little bit too much and we should definitely do something about it? While in England, a country that is not known for immigration, never has been, the people didn't want it and have voted actively against it, that country, the people still walk around, the politicians still walk around, the media class still walk around going, yeah, you know what, immigration is, it is a good thing. Diversity is our strength. And if you talk about it and you say otherwise, you're a racist. How has that happened? How is that logically something that we have to live with? Why is it that we have to go through life accepting the absolute absurdity of that lie? Anyway, let's get into this. Donald Trump has said that he will pause migration from third world countries. Well, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you pause immigration over people from third world countries, countries that are so corrupt and ill-run that they cannot even maintain basic infrastructure? Why would you want to stop importing those fucking doctors and engineers? I just wonder. Donald Trump has said he will permanently pause migration to the US from all third world countries. The US president wrote on Truth Social post that the decision would allow the US system to fully recover from the immigration policies that had eroded the gains and living conditions of many Americans. He did not provide details of his plan or name countries which might be affected. I'm a little bit worried about that, but I do have to say with Donald Trump, usually when he says he's going to do something, he will do it. So we'll have to see what kind of caveats he's forced to throw in there, because if we're all being honest, Donald Trump probably has something to hide, and the people that are allowing him to hide those things may have a lot of power or leverage over him. So he might have to concede some caveats there. So Trump's comments came a day after an Afghan national was accused of shooting two members of the National Guard in Washington, D.C., one of whom has died. And we are so sick of seeing this in this country, guys, of these foreigners coming in and then targeting our homegrown native peoples, screaming the words of peace. This and other announcements after the attack represented a further toughening of Trump's stance towards immigration, which has long been one of his key issues. Trump previously said Wednesday's shooting in Washington, D.C. underlined a major national security threat and promised to take steps to remove any foreigner from any country who does not belong here. Wow, I wish we had someone in our government that could even get close to that kind of rhetoric. The same day, the US suspended processing all immigration requests from Afghans, finally, saying the decision was made pending a review of security and vetting protocols. Then on Thursday, the US Citizenship and Immigration Services said it would re-examine green cards issued to individuals who migrated to the US from 19 countries. When asked by the BBC which countries were on the list, the agency pointed to a June proclamation by the White House that indicated Afghanistan, Cuba, Haiti, Iran, Somalia, and Venezuela. All just amazing, wonderful countries that contribute to the world in so many different ways. No, they don't do that. It's the fucking opposite. There were no further details about what the re-examination would look like. Again, this woman was murdered by a foreigner that shouldn't have been in that country. Trump's strongly worded two-part post on Thursday night went further, pledging to end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens. That should already be the case. The president also blamed refugees for causing the social dysfunction in America. Well, I would say that is a lot to do with the long march through the institutions as well. and vowed to remove anyone who was not a net asset to the US. Perfect! Exactly what I've been saying. Why should you be here if you're not contributing? If you're not one of the top earners in the country, get the fuck out. The post, which Trump introduced as a happy Thanksgiving salutation, was filled with anti-immigration language. Oh, this is a BBC article. Why would they frame it in that way? Oh, well, the people that wrote this are Yang Tian and James Fitzgerald. That might go somewhere to explaining that kind of framing. Let's have a look. He said that hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia were completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Yeah, they elected one, didn't they? And took particular aim at the state's democratic lawmakers. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the US system to fully recover. The phrase third world is a term that was used in the past to describe poorer developing nations. The White House and USCIS have not yet given further details on Trump's plan. Well, I think the term third world will now be associated with people that come into your country, take the piss, do horrible things to your children, and then go on to murder your citizens. The flurry of announcements come after officials said that the suspect in Washington, D.C., came into the US in 2021. Mr. Whatever travelled under a programme that offered special immigration protections to Afghans who had worked with US forces in the wake of the American withdrawal from Afghanistan. And by the way, the UK is not immune from this. Our previous government stealthily allowed over 100,000 Afghans to come into this country without telling the public, and then placed a gag order on the press to even talk about it. And that went on for years, guys. So we've got hundreds of thousands of Afghanis, unvetted Afghanis in our country. God knows how many crimes they've committed and have been covered up by our government, because unfortunately we don't have someone like Donald Trump that will call this out and say, actually, yeah, that's a problem. We've just got people in power that try and cover it up. So at the time, the Taliban had taken back control of Afghanistan, raising fears of retribution against those who had co-opted with the US. Mr. Lanaklawal once worked alongside the CIA, the agent's current director has said. So they're just importing people without. And by the way, they have like in the US, they have people that go up against the Senate and then they get questions. I saw the previous guy that was in charge of this, the Jewish fellow, basically say that, yeah, these were completely unvetted. None of them were vetted. They lied about them being vetted. They brought them into the country stealthily, and then it turned out none of them were vetted at all. They just loaded as many Afghanis onto the planes as they could before they left. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose, guys. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose. Every single white country has this problem. A bunch of people in power just flooding the countries with people that shouldn't be here. And this is our civil service, by the way, for Americans or any non-British people looking in, thinking, well, why don't you do something about your country? Why don't you, you guys are just letting it happen. No, our civil service is co-opted. It's co-opted. It's been flooded with the migrants that are currently bringing in more migrants. And I'm not saying it's just their fault. I'm saying that they obviously don't want to stop this from happening because it benefits them. It benefits them, their family. They're bringing over like family members that are outside the country. They come into the country. They get benefits. Why would they want to stop mass immigration when they are part of the wave? I don't think it's really on their to-do list. But then we've got people like this. Now, in the UK, we've got like the current Secretary of State, I believe it's Secretary of State, is Shabana Mahmood, right? A Pakistani Muslim. Now, she gets voted in and voted out, depending on whether the people want a blue party to destroy the country or a red party to destroy the country. It's either, which one you want, it's up to you. It's a blue party that's going to continue the mass migration of peoples into the country, or it's a red party that's going to do that and also cover up the grooming gangs. So we've got permanent secretaries in these positions. So the permanent secretary of the Home Office, and again, I believe the Home Office right now is manned by a man called David Lammy, who says that he is Caribbean, and even though he's not from the Caribbean, and that he wants reparations for black people in the UK. Again, perfect integration, just a black man calling for reparations from British people. Anyway, so we've got permanent secretaries that never get voted out. These people are in their jobs until, I don't know what the process is behind the scenes, until they lose interest or they commit a scandal where they've got to step down or something. So this is Dame Antonia Romeo. Wonderful British name there, isn't it, guys? Is the new permanent secretary of the Home Office. This was back in April. She has previously been investigated for bullying staff members and misusing expenses. She has been called the Sue Gray of the civil service for earning more than her boss. She has also been previously described as the Queen of Woke. And Labour are purposely filling our institutions with the most corrupt and incompetent people in the country. They hate us. Now that's from the Mercian. And again, these are the people that they're filling the civil service with. These are the people that are making the decisions about who stays in this country, what the migration caps are, etc. And this is Rupert Lowe, one of the very few good MPs that we've got that is fighting on the side of the British people, the real British people, the Britons. Let's make that clear. You cannot be a Briton unless you are English, Scottish, Northern Irish or Welsh. That's it. So our police have been infected with this DEI rot. So apparently there's some kind of another scandal where the government is discriminating against white people. Now I say the government is infested with people that I wouldn't even classify as white people, or British, depending on how you want to change that up. But let's see, our police have been infected with this DEI rot. I just pushed the Home Office chief on just how disruptive the poisonous diversity agenda has been on operational policing. The line of questioning was not appreciated. My own view, I'd sack every single DEI officer day one. You see, if that is true and the police force is being infected with DEI hires, then I'm not really surprised that the grooming scandal was never solved, and actually it turned out that many police officers engaged in it. Let's have a listen to this.
So I had a look at your profile, Dame Antonia, and I'm not a great man on doing research, but it didn't take me very long to find out that many in Whitehall and the media call you the Queen of Woke. I mean, do you actually recognise that title?
I'm not convinced that anybody in Whitehall has called me that.
Well, it's driven, I think, by your championing of and proactive implementation of high-paying DEI roles within the civil service. So I had a quick look.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't know what you're referring to.
Well,
My championing of what?
This is if you dispute that.
She knows exactly what he's saying.
This is what the media.
I don't know if I've understood.
This is what the media.
Sadiq Khan does this, by the way. Whenever you approach Sadiq Khan with a question that he doesn't want to answer, he'll just say, "I don't know what you're saying. I just don't understand it." Were the grooming gangs operating in London? Well, I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean by gangs. Were there Muslims operating gangs within London that were targeting white, vulnerable children? Well, I don't know what you mean by white or vulnerable. Exactly the same kind of deflection.
If I go on my question, I think you'll understand. So I had a quick look, and in 21-2, the police forces spent 15 million on DEI, and there were 147 DEI officers. Whether they're highly paid or lowly paid, I leave that to everybody to judge. In 23-4, there are 197. So the DEI virus is growing within the police force. So are you championing the growth of these DEI roles? That's my first question, quite apart from the fact it's costing a lot of money. And my second question, because I get a lot of policemen coming to see me in my constituency in Great Yarmouth, these are operational policemen, who are very frustrated by this DEI nonsense. No, but Geoffrey, this is quite important because they come to see me because they think the police are being made less efficient by the cant that's coming from the top of the police force, which clearly is coming from somewhere. So
why would they want to make the police force less efficient as they're flooding the country with people that are doing unspeakable things?
My question is, does it make them operationally less efficient? And I then got in a moment an observation on procurement, but those were my two questions.
To whom is your question? So
Well, are you driving the DEI agenda within the police force?
I think there might be a misunderstanding about the extent to which I determine who works on what in police forces.
Well, is it coming? It comes from the top, Dame Antonia. The culture
No,
comes from the top.
no. The decision about what resources work on what in police forces are a matter for the forces.
Are you keen to see more DEI?
What the fuck?
I don't. That's not. I don't see. That's not a relevant question. I mean, I'm sure the chair is going to want to intervene at this point.
It's costing money, and it's also arguably making the police less efficient, which is why I'm asking that question.
My job is to allocate funding to the forces.
Who is this? Keir Starmer? Literally just refuses to answer questions.
And therefore, and obviously in support of the Home Secretary, and therefore ensure the police are delivering. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing all this work. I don't recognise the thing you said at the opening of your thing about something I was meant to have championed. I don't know where that's come from.
You're not driving the DEI agenda. Is there an active DEI agenda being promoted within the police force?
Well,
This is getting on towards policy, Rupert.
Well, not really, because I think it does.
Oh, no, this is policy, Rupert. Don't talk about policy. Oh, Rupert, how dare you? This is, we shouldn't question policy, Rupert. Just let it happen. Just let it happen and just shut up for the sake of diversity, you fucking racist.
Affect the operational efficiency.
I think your first question about how many DEI officers and how much was being spent.
It's gone up, Geoffrey, and it's
Give us a
increasing
figure,
cost.
and let's let somebody answer the question.
I think it's undermining confidence of the actual operational police.
I understand.
Again, right, like I'm sick of saying this, but the reason that this is happening to our country is because of people like that man right there, who believe that it is uncouth or ungentlemanly to talk about race, to talk about how that affects policies, to talk about the motivations of these kinds of people and what that means to the future of this country. Oh no! Don't talk about that. No, that's terribly uncouth of you, sir. Please don't talk about that. Ew. Yeah, they're the reason. They're part of the problem. We have enemies all over the place, but the ones that I think that are the most insidious are the ones that try and virtue signal, or the ones that try and claim some kind of moral authority over you while doing or allowing someone else to do things that really harm this country.
Understand the point that Mr. Lowe's making. To give the accurate figures for the College of Policing, we employ 5 people who could be described as being involved in diversity, equality and inclusion. That's reducing to 3 in March. And actually,
Well, that sounds like bullshit to me, guys. Do you think that sounded truthful? Just 3 people? And also, by the way, if that is true, then that's 3 incredibly racist hires that you've made. Because I'm assuming that those people were not allowed to be white. Is that legal?
that is to fulfil our lawful requirement around equality. That's the simple purpose of that. Now, we talk about the College of Policing, and we're a body that holds the evidence.
So they have a lawful requirement to make sure that there's less white people within the police.
Base of what works, and we're responsible for improving standards in policing, driving performance and developing leadership. And I'm really
Improving standards, driving performance and leadership. Are all of those things happening right now in the police force, or is he using that tactic of saying the exact opposite of what is actually happening? So the country's falling apart, and Keir Starmer will come out and say, well, actually, the country is improving, and this is about a nation built for everyone. This is about progress and development. Just say the opposite, guys. It's opposite world.
to answer questions on near them, but actually everything that we do must be about increasing the utility of policing to the public, to cut crime, keep people safe. I am a straightforward police officer. That's what I'm trying to do at the College of Policing. So
right.
I understand the concern you expressed to me. I don't recognise it within that body in policing.
So the police is about keeping people safe, and in fact, it's so much about keeping people safe that your line of questioning might endanger that. Don't talk about diversity quotas. Do not mention DEI, and certainly don't talk about the demographic replacement of the people of this country. That will hurt the progress and leadership of the fucking bastards that are doing this.
Okay, well, I am concerned about it because from my feedback from police officers on the ground in Great Yarmouth, I definitely, that is an issue.
Wow. So, obfuscation of the truth. There it is. Meanwhile, have you seen recently how the media have been creating a furor around Nigel Farage and how he said something anti-Semitic 45 years ago when he was a child in school? Well, let's listen to a black person's perspective on this. I'm sure this is going to be enlightened, right? Because these people that are coming into our country, or these minorities, which is, again, an inversion of the truth. These are global supermajorities. So these minorities that come into the country, let's see if she's got a fair, balanced perspective on something that this guy said 45 years ago, allegedly by some of his supposed Jewish friends.
At school, categorically on the record, you did not racially abuse your fellow pupils.
I would never, ever do it in a hurtful or insulting way.
What? Not quite the same as not doing it.
It's 49 years ago.
So bloody what? It was 49 years ago.
Isn't it? Well, I just entered my teens.
White people created moving the goalpost on racism.
There you go, immediately. Doesn't understand that she has just said something so fucking racist that a white person will get cancelled for saying it. That's the kind of perspective that you get from these people. Should I go on? Probably. I'm not going to, because she is insufferable. For your benefit, let's listen. For your benefit, let's listen to a little bit more.
After all, they created racism for their benefit to the detriment of black and brown people. Here is Nigel Farage basically telling you that he is a racist.
The lack of self-awareness is astounding, isn't it, guys? It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing that the words come out of these people's mouths and they don't have the fucking IQ to realise that they're doing something way worse that he was just accused of. Anyway, sack that. I can't be arsed listening to her. Oh, yeah. And there's another reason why the country might be allowing this to happen, and it does come from the top, doesn't it? Here's, for some reason, the call to prayer in Buckingham Palace. Well, not listening to that fucking shit. But can you believe this? It's in Buckingham Palace. From the very top, as Rupert Law just said, it has to come from somewhere, doesn't it? Well, where does it come from? Should we have a king anymore? Should we have a king that literally seems to hate us, that promotes other cultures above our own, that other peoples above our own, that is quite happy to see this happen in one of the most famous, if not the most famous building in the UK? I hate this with a passion. I think, well, I can't really talk about... Shut the fuck up. I can't really talk about what I think, because it's illegal. It is literally illegal. What I want to happen is I'm not allowed to say it. But yeah, these people need to pay severely for what they're doing to this country, and I hope they do. I hope one day they get something. They see something. I'm not talking about violence, but there needs to... unless it's state-sponsored violence, whereas we gain power and then we try them and they're found guilty in a court of law and we bring back the death penalty and then there's violence enacted against them. But I'm not talking about street justice or anything like that. But I do want consequences before these people pass off this mortal coil naturally to be visited upon them through legal means. And speaking of Muslims, again, we're told that these are poor immigrants, that they just want to integrate into our society, that they're here and they contribute, and that obviously, again, that phrase, diversity is our strength. The thing is, they actually say the complete opposite to each other. I've shown many videos about this. I may as well just keep showing them more, because although I do get people watching the channel that have seen these videos many, many times, and not this one in particular, but videos like this many, many times. For the new ones coming in, the ones that I want their eyes, for the ones coming in watching these videos for the first time, I want your eyes to be open so you understand exactly what these people are saying behind closed doors. Yes, they will say that they're just here to embrace British culture and all this bollocks. But again, When the door is closed and you can no longer see their faces and the mask is taken off, this is what they actually say.
I remember a conversation with the head of the school when I was really young. He told me we weren't allowed to speak English in the madrasa, only our language. I asked why, because I was confused. I said, but I speak English at school. And he replied, yes, but only speak English when you have to. It's not our language. Then he said something that stuck with me ever since. He told me, be careful who you get too friendly with. Don't forget who your community is. And then, straight-faced, he told me not to be friends with white kids. I was a little girl, and I remember just feeling confused. I was born and raised in England. My classmates were white. My friends were white. So what were they teaching us? They act like this cult is peaceful, that they're just kind, loving, spiritual people. But that day, they planted the seed of division, of us versus them. I remember a conversation.
So this rings true from my own experience as well when I was in primary school. There was 2 Indian kids in my year. They were nice kids. I was good friends with them. Again, I didn't see race or anything like this when I was young. I didn't understand about all this DEI stuff. It was just... There were a couple of kids wearing a couple of baubles on their heads, and I thought that was funny, and I made friends with them. There was 2 other kids in my class that I couldn't make friends with because they literally told me they weren't allowed to be my friend. The smaller one, he was just a really quiet one, and kept out of everyone's way. But the bigger one, big fat bastard he would come in every day and ask the teacher if he can read the Quran during story time. We were actually reading The Hobbit at the time, and he interrupted that several times, which I got pissed off about. So anyway, I don't want to get into that, but I'm still pissed off that he interrupted the reading of The Hobbit to read the Quran. Yeah, that really wound me up. But anyway, those 2 kids, they did not integrate. They were actually openly hostile to the rest of the class. The Indian guys, the Punjabis, they were fine. But the Pakistanis, they hated us. So I've got experience with this myself, and this isn't the first. That wouldn't be the last time that I'd experienced something like this. You guys have probably got this experience growing up as well. There was 2 different kinds of foreigners. There would be the ones that would be open and they would be friendly with you. You'd be able to talk to them. You'd be able to play games with them if you were a child or whatever. And then you had the other ones. The ones that just left a stink in the room. A bad shadow. They came across as kind of intimidating. They looked at you different. Well, they're everywhere now. And they're everywhere in this country because it's being pushed. It's being pushed by people in power. Again, the permanent secretaries, the people, the queens and kings of woke, the people that maybe don't have allegiances to this country, they're the ones that are allowing this to happen. And I don't know I have to say this at the end of every video, guys. I don't know what the answer is. We don't have someone in power that is willing to actually recognize the problem. We've got a bunch of people in power that are covering things up. They're actually engaging in the problem. They think it's a good thing. So unless we get someone in power that loves the country, I can't see this getting better unless there is some kind of violent revolution in which we tear it all down. And I think, although I really was against that in the beginning, I'm getting to the point now where I'm actually hopeful that will happen. And I think the rest of the world will see that happen, if it does happen, and will support us doing it. I think they'll actually support us. I think Americans will come over from the US and join our side. I think you'll get people from Europe coming over and joining our side. You get loads of expats coming back to the UK, joining our side. And then we'll find out whether the migrants have the real spirit to fight for something that was never theirs to begin with. Anyway, guys, on that light subject, I'll leave you there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you do like the channel, please subscribe. I'll see you later.